Now, what we need to build next is our checkout page. We have to start styling it and also creating the checkout items. Now, looking at the final product for our checkout page, we see that there will be a total, some checkout items, this header, as well as this section here that has to do with payment with Stripe. Now, we'll take this one part at a time, and let's actually build our base page first. So let's have this total, and then let's have this header, as well as the checkout items, which we'll tackle after. So let's just first build the checkout page. Now, what we know that we need from the checkout page will be the header first. So let's just build that out. Now, I already have the styles for you, but we'll explore it a little bit after we set up the base HTML elements. For this, we need a class name of checkout page. And inside of our checkout page will be our checkout header. So it will just be a div that holds some of these block-like elements together. And these block elements are called header blocks. And inside of them is a span that has some text regarding what it'll say. And it will be respectively product, description, quantity, price, and remove. So let's copy this over, actually, 4 more times for each block. And this one will say product, description, price. Oh, sorry, this is quantity, price, and finally remove. Now, for the actual styling, I have them as normal. So you can just paste them into your style sheet. And let's take a quick look at what we're doing here. The main thing to focus on is that our checkout header is 100% of the page, and the page itself is 55% of the total that is available to it. So for us, that's why it's centered in this quantity amount, and it's responsive accordingly. But each header block inside of our header is 23% of the total width, except for the last child, which is our last header block, which is 8%. So 23 times 4 is 92, plus 8 gives us 100. And the reason for this is because our remove only holds the X button. So it doesn't need as much space as the other header blocks inside of our header. But now that we have our header component, let's actually bring in our cart items from our state, and then we'll build our checkout item and finish this page. So let's just first bring in all the things that we need. So we need connect from React Redux. We also need create structured selector from reselect, because we know we're going to be pulling some stuff off the state. And then we're going to bring in our actual select cart items. From Redux, cart selectors. And we'll pull off select cart items. Now let's write our map state to props. Map state to props, which will be our create structured selector. And we'll pass it in as cart items goes to select cart items. Now, as far as the total goes, we need another selector for it that will add all of the price of our items together. That selector we will add to our cart selector. And we'll call it export const select cart total. Yeah, select cart total. That sounds pretty good. And what we'll need is we'll need all of our cart items. And it's going to be very similar to our reduce, the previous one we had for items count. The only difference is that we're going to be accumulating the value of the price of the cart item price times the cart item quantity. So we can actually copy this over and just modify it as so. because the main thing we're trying to get is the total cost, right? And we know the cost of each item, and we know how many of each item we have. So it's pretty much just going to be the quantity multiplied by the price. So now let's bring this into our component. And then we'll say the total value is this. And then let's connect it together. And we'll add our map stage props. And then destructure off both the cart items that we're passing in now, as well as the total. And now what we can do, right after our header component, is we can put a quick little map, right, of our cart items. And we'll just show the name for now before we build our component. But let's just make sure that the parts that we can control for now are working. And we just want to render cart item.name. And then after this, we're going to have a div that has the class name of total. And inside will be the span that has our total. And now we save. And if we look, we'll see that because we have no items, right, our total is 0. But once we add our items in, we'll see that our total is updating, and there's the name of our items. Cool. So nothing new, nothing really that different from what we've done so far. But now we have our checkout page. So let's build our checkout item.